Before we start, I gotta ask you guys, if this girl wasn't hot, would this be such a big news story? Let me know what you think in the comments down below.
Bloody 25-year-old Courtney Tailor, that Instagram star that you just mentioned there, moments after her boyfriend was stabbed to death.
Social media sensation Courtney Tailor, well, she had it all. She had the look, she had the lifestyle, and she had the followers. Now, the only thing we didn't know that she had, well, the capability of actually murdering someone. And yeah, that's exactly where we are today. Scratching our heads and wondering if this young woman has gone full-blown psycho. That is, with the stabbing of her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli. Now, there are questions to be sure about what exactly went down in that apartment before his death, but sadly, there aren't a whole lot of answers. Yet, one look at social media will tell you a lot of what you already need to know. Because in terms of public opinion, well, Courtney, she doesn't have a lot of supporters who believe her side of the events. But what has she had to say that happened that led her to take such drastic action? Well, to find that out, you're gonna have to stay tuned to our latest episode of Before They Were Infamous, or Before They Were Criminals, or Before They Were Cray-Cray. Also, guys, if you're not subscribed and watching this video, be sure to hit that button, turn on those notifications. YouTube's a crowded place, so you probably won't find us unless you do that. All right, I'll see you after the intro. Courtney Tailor was born Courtney Tailor on April 21st, 1996 in Midland, Texas. Now, Courtney, she would move to Austin with her family when she was 7 years old, and a few years later, well, she discovered acting at the age of 13. Now, from that point forward, well, she began studying the art form in earnest, attending workshops, as well as taking dance and vocal lessons. Basically, the girl always wanted to be famous. Congrats! Now you're famous for all the wrong reasons. Now, in her late teens, well, Courtney made an impression on Texas filmmaker Richard Linklater, who cast her in bit parts in his films Boyhood and Everybody Wants Some. That was in like the mid-2010s. Now, following her experience in the movies, well, Courtney would be hired to appear as an extra in the G-Eazy music video for the single Me, Myself, and I. And after doing this show quite a while, I know a thing or two about G-Eazy, and well, they probably hung out off camera. That guy likes to party.
Did you smash G-Eazy? Let me just explain this question real quick. I was in a music video called Me, Myself, and I by G-Eazy, and I don't know, I guess when I took a picture with him, people just assumed that you gotta slut it up if you meet someone famous.
Anyway, shortly after those cameos, well, Courtney, she would move from Texas to Los Angeles to make a career for herself in the world of entertainment. Now, rather than stick with the film or music scene, well, she became a certified personal trainer and she began promoting brands like EHP Labs and Manscaped. That's via Instagram. Essentially, she made it to the land of opportunity, and all she found was Instagram, and later OnlyFans. Now, before long, Courtney had grown a massive online audience, and her next step, well, it was to begin creating exclusive content, like I mentioned, of course, for OnlyFans. I mean, when you're on Instagram and everyone's just like thirst trapping you, what else are you gonna do? You gotta turn that into a few bucks. Yeah, I think I know what that's code for. Anyway, this sort of digital footprint, it was enough to get her name reverberating throughout celebrity culture circles, and she soon found herself putting in appearances on podcasts like We in Miami, where she was interviewed about 2 weeks before her life went to hell, and well, she was recorded admitting to some very personal preferences. Take a look.
You look like the type of girl that only dates like rich guys. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I only date black guys.
Now, outside of openly admitting that she only has an eye for rich black men, well, Courtney would also state in that same interview that she likes to be the controlling one in a relationship and she won't put up with being told how to act. Yeah, sounds like a keeper.
Like in my life, I don't like anybody to tell me what to do.
Yeah, so you only want them to tell you what to do in the bedroom. Other than that, you don't want them to tell you anything.
Right.
Little did we know that only like days later, we'd find out how serious she actually was. In April of 2022, well, Miami police responded to a 911 call from Courtney. At around 5 p.m., they arrived outside of her luxury apartment building, and they found Courtney covered in blood, and her boyfriend Christian, he had been stabbed in the shoulder. Now, first responders, they immediately transported Christian to a nearby hospital, but he would sadly succumb to his injuries shortly thereafter. Officers would later reveal that the violence was caused by a domestic dispute. Now, reports suggest that a neighbor had seen Christian swinging at Courtney about a week before, and he called 911. But the only footage that has ever emerged from the event was a shocking look of Courtney handcuffed and drenched in blood. And that's where she's talking to the officers. I believe there was a dog nearby. I felt bad for the dog. Obviously Christian. But the dog, he did nothing. Neither did Christian. I think you know what I mean. Now, Tailor would claim that she stabbed Christian after he attacked her, pushing her to the floor and grabbing her by the neck. Intense arguments were par for the course between these two, but outside of that neighbor who said that Christian took a swing at her, well, for Courtney, no one else appears to be backing her side of the events. In fact, when the couple's mutual friends were interviewed by the police, well, more often than not, they'd be heard saying things like this: "We've seen her hit him. I've never seen him hit her." Now, in the past 3 months, will police say that they responded to multiple disturbances at the couple's apartment, but have yet to reveal the specifics of those calls. Now, according to their neighbors, well, Christian, he had just moved into the apartment, and he was living there with Courtney before this tragic turn of events. Now, after the attack, well, Courtney, she was taken to a local police station where she was questioned. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that authorities got very far with her, and Tailor was then hospitalized for threatening to kill herself. Now, Tailor was placed on a psychiatric hold, but for how long, we're not quite sure. In fact, it wasn't very long because soon after, she was spotted at a bar. Now, according to Courtney's lawyer, well, her official events of what happened, there is as follows. At the time of the incident, Mr. Obumseli was committing a forcible felony. He had gained access to Courtney's apartment without permission on several occasions. In the days leading up to this incident, Courtney acted in self-defense. The investigation by both the City of Miami Police Department and the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office will conclude such. In other words, Courtney hasn't been charged with anything to this point in time. And police, well, I guess they're still investigating. Now, that being said, she most definitely is out of psychiatric hold because, like I said, she's been spotted around Miami and she was actually confronted by individuals who believe her to be lying. Listen to what they said to her.
Right now, you should go. Yeah, you should go. Because you just killed your boyfriend. Yeah, you did. Yeah, and yeah. Okay.
Now, obviously, the general public aren't the only ones who are unhappy and want to get to the bottom of this. There's also Christian's family who were distraught, to say the least, and they're even angrier over the fact that Courtney, well, she's not being held accountable for her actions. It's almost like someone at the police department's got a crush on her.
We have not had an opportunity to even start to grieve the loss of our family, of our brother, cousin, son.
Now, a week after the attack, Christian's brother, Jeffrey, he wrote on Instagram, "It's been a week since my brother was brutally and senselessly killed. Courtney's callous actions have not been met with an ounce of remorse. We've seen videos of Courtney kissing her dogs while covered in what we believe to be my brother's blood and casually getting drinks at a hotel bar days later while my brother lays in a morgue." He would go on to further state that Courtney admitted to police that Christian did not have a weapon on him at the time she stabbed him, and that she had sustained no injuries to support her story. Now, despite that, Jeffrey believes that within 24 hours, the lead detective on the case had permanently concluded that this was not a crime of violence. Now, the lack of transparency in the investigation, it has Christian's family worried that true justice, it might never even be served. Now, once the video of Courtney sitting at the bar began making the rounds, her lawyer released a statement suggesting that she had been there simply to meet with her father, who wanted to have a quiet drink. Sure, okay, fine. She wanted to have a drink, or the dad did. But just keep it in the hotel room, right? I mean, every hotel room's got a bar fridge, I think. It's a fancy hotel, I'm sure they do. Regardless, Courtney's lawyer says it doesn't matter and that this woman with the camera, she was accosting Courtney and she was in the wrong, suggesting it's yet another example of people running away with a theory without knowing all the facts first. But her lawyer wasn't done yet. He then dropped a bombshell telling TMZ that not only was Courtney the victim of physical, emotional, and mental abuse, but that she might also have been used in human trafficking. Now, at that point, however, he stopped talking and he refused to elaborate any further. I guess she was doing OnlyFans against her will. I doubt it. Now, the last point is definitely something that needs to be checked out, but is this simply a case of someone throwing every excuse at a wall to see what sticks? Now, it's too early to tell at this point, but one thing's for sure, people want answers, especially Christian's family. And if anyone deserves some, it's certainly them. As for Courtney, she's still a free woman as of right now. In fact, she is yet to be charged with anything. And what's worse is that it's totally unclear where police stand on this matter in terms of who they're investigating and what might come out of all of this in the end. Now, until we know for sure one way or another what's going to happen to Courtney Tailor, all we can do is bring an end to the story, and then I guess down the road we'll do before they were locked up, hopefully, because man, I have no sympathy for this woman. She seems like a cray-cray, and to take it to that level, and to kill a man, to stab a man, it's gruesome, it's terrible, it makes me afraid. I've almost been stabbed once, true story. But that's another story for another video, because this is before they were criminals, before they were infamous, or whatever the hell we titled it. My name is Michael McCrudden. I'll see you guys in another video.